This is the vicious cycle of game development. Basically, you get an idea, then you get really motivated and start building, and then you realize that this is going to take a long time. Slowly, everything will fall apart. You lose motivation, you get overwhelmed, and then eventually you just quit. And then a month later, they're going to do it all over again. I've been stuck in this cycle, and today I want to break it. The vicious cycle of game development is something I came up with to describe what almost every beginner game developer goes through. And honestly, even experienced game devs might fall into it too. I've made a short about it before, if you want to learn more, but this video is going to be a little different. I'm not just going to explain the cycle, I'm going to show you how to actually break it, or at least how I'm trying to break it. I'll go phase by phase, so whatever phase of the cycle you're currently in, that'll be the phase that you'll want to pay attention to. But pay attention to all of it, please. Phase 1 is the idea. Let's start with the best part, which is the idea. This is when everything feels amazing. You're imagining mechanics, storylines, your brain is just going crazy, like I said. This is where the cycle begins. You might think I have no advice for this phase because, well, it's the most positive of the phases. It's where everything just feels amazing. But there are some things that you can do in this phase to set yourself up to not lose motivation for those later phases. The first thing I think you should do when creating your ideas is to write your ideas down, but not to live in your ideas. What this means is that write those ideas down when you get them, those sparks of creativity. That's important. But you have to keep in mind that you have to make something feasible. The more you plan, the bigger your game will become, which also means the harder it is to create. The bigger your game becomes, the less likely you are to finish it. A lot of people say that if you've never made a game before, your dream game shouldn't be your first game. And I agree and disagree. I do think that your first game should be something that you would play, something that you would enjoy, but it doesn't need to be on the scope of something like a Persona 5. It can be something smaller. Take those core concepts you have and really hone into them. It's really exciting to have an idea and expand on it as much as you want. Believe me, I've fallen into that trap, but that's only going to set you up for disappointment when you realize how long that's actually going to take. So start with something small, like really small. Think one mechanic, one level, or one core loop. Your first goal isn't to make an amazing AAA 5-star game. It's to make a finished game. Let's go to phase 2, which is the first steps. This is where most people, I think, mess up. During this phase, you're actually starting the development process. Your motivation is still really high, but reality will start creeping in. Most people don't quit games because they're lazy. They quit because they're trying to do too much at once. The biggest advice I have for this phase is to reframe your thinking. Instead of going into your day saying, I'm gonna work on my game, reframe it, add a goal. For example, today I'm gonna add jumping, or today I'll add movement. This is what I'm doing with my short series. I have one feature that I focus on and I add that for that short. Each of these shorts takes me about one session to fully implement and code in the actual game engine. If you have one goal per session and keep those sessions really short, like 30 to 60 minutes per session, and then stop when you complete the goal, you'll be less likely to burn yourself out and want to quit because you have these tangible goals that you're accomplishing every single session. Another really helpful thing, for me at least, is to track everything you're adding. Your brain is going to lie to you. It's going to tell you that you've done nothing, but when you look back at your history, you'll see that you've actually built a lot. This is something that I really struggled with before starting YouTube. I kind of started YouTube as a way to document my game and keep me motivated. I can easily go back and watch my old video and see, wow, I really started from nothing, and I've really added a lot each single time. It just doesn't feel that way when you're actually doing it. But you don't have to just do YouTube. Obviously, YouTube is a lot of work. There's a lot of other ways you can keep track. You could use notes, you could use docs, just a devlog. Like, progress will feel invisible unless you track it. So make sure to track it no matter how simple your tracking is. Let's go to phase 3 now, the realization phase. This is the danger zone. This is the hardest phase. This is where most people realize that this process is going to take months or years to complete. And it's also where most people quit. Throughout your game development process, you are going to start noticing things like bugs everywhere, things taking really long, simple features especially taking really long to be implemented, and suddenly making the game just isn't fun anymore. When you feel this way, there is something you need to do immediately, and that's to step back before you burn out. You're not supposed to grind 8 hours a day on this project. That's just going to make you lose the passion from a passion project. Burnout doesn't come from working too much. It comes from working too much without seeing results. So what's the solution for this? There's no real solution to fix burnout, but what I do is to take breaks. And I know in our culture, it's very frowned upon to take breaks from a project, but you need real breaks. And not just guilt breaks where you feel guilty for not doing something. You need real breaks where you're not thinking about the project at all. Have other hobbies as well. I love making games and I love playing games, but I can't only focus on that. Otherwise, I'll start to lose my passion for games altogether. This actually happened to me when I first started college. I just stopped playing games altogether because I got burnt out from them. And even if you are really motivated to keep making your game, there are things you can do within the game dev process to kind of prevent that burnout. Don't just focus on coding. Throw in some art every now and then, or do some sound design. Just swap what you're focusing on every few days. That way it won't feel like you're waking up just to do one thing every day, and you'll feel better. For me, my solution to this phase is YouTube. I love making videos. It keeps me creative without having to fully do the game, and I get to really have two birds in one stone by having the videos and the game. YouTube isn't an option for everyone, I know, but just having some other hobby that keeps you creatively inclined, whether it's like writing, drawing, things like that, that really helps you keep that motivation and stop yourself from wanting to give up. Speaking of giving up, let's go to phase 4, the giving up phase. This is where the cycle resets. Usually people will quit here. They'll get overwhelmed by the amount of pressure, the time that it takes, the lack of results. They'll quit and say that the project just wasn't worth their time. And that's fair, honestly, but I know a lot of people really want to see their game come to fruition. This is the hardest phase to break, honestly, but there are a few things that have helped me, especially when I wanted to give up. The first is to redefine what success means. If you think that finishing a bad game is better than abandoning a perfect one, then you'll be more motivated to actually continue that game. If you finish that game, you have that experience. If you abandon a game, that experience isn't going nowhere, but it will just feel like a waste of time. Another thing is to not restart when you have a new idea. Try to find a way to incorporate it into your current project. Don't throw everything away. That will make you much more motivated to keep working on the same thing instead of starting a bunch of new tasks that you're probably not going to finish. Also, lower the bar. Your game doesn't need to be amazing AAA, especially for your first game. It just needs to be done. When you have a finished game, you can get feedback from others. You can get ideas. Just think about how proud you'll be once you can say, I've made a game. And if you want something tangible, what I say is to post publicly. This will give you accountability. Even if no one is seeing your posts, even if no one's watching your videos, they're out there and they're accountable. Just imagine someone going to your channel or going to your page and they want to learn about your game, but it's not being made anymore. It might not be the healthiest way, but for me at least, it gives me that accountability that I need to continue because I've been posting about this. Other people are invested in this. So there you have it. The vicious cycle of game development, it doesn't happen because you're bad at making games. It happens because you're trying to do too much at once with no system. So in conclusion, here's how to break it. Start small, work consistently, track your progress, take breaks, and most importantly, just try to finish something. Even if it sucks, even if no one plays it, even if it's just a tiny little project with one level. If you finish one game, you're no longer stuck in that cycle.
Thank you for watching. My creator would really appreciate it if you subscribe. Maybe you should watch another of his videos too. If he gets more attention, maybe he will release me.